Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and I am getting ready to go into one of my favorite comic book shops, Cards, Comics, and Collectibles in Reisterstown, Maryland. They are getting ready to start their big Thanksgiving Day sale. I'm pretty excited about this. Go back, watch my video from a couple episodes ago where I do a comic book shop recon. I went to the shop early and checked out some of their big books that they've got on their stands, and then basically, I went through everything, and I made a giant list, and I did a cost analysis, and what I was going to do was basically, after that, go to a little Comic-Con in Frederick, Maryland, which I did. And basically, I price compared a little bit. Where was I going to get the better deal for some of these big keys? And I ended up picking up a pretty good book down at the Comic-Con. I ended up buying Secret Wars number 8, a really good price for a better price than the book that they've got here at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles, even with their discount. So that kind of helped a little bit, but they've still plenty of other books that they've got here in the shop. They run for the premium books, and that could be at any era, books from brand new books all the way down to Golden Age. It could be any of those things. They're considered premium books, so they're running a 30% discount. For Bronze Age, I believe they're doing 50%, so it's not necessarily, my guess is that's Bronze Age, but the conditions aren't going to be immaculate. It may not be some of the keys. It seems like what they'll do is they'll pull the keys out and put them into the premium box area, no matter what era it is. But anyway, I'm ready to go. They were supposed to open at 11, at least that's what their Facebook post said. Turns out that they're opening at noon, which is what they normally would open up on a Wednesday, new comic book day and all that. So I ended up going to get some breakfast, and I came back and I'm chomping at the bit. I ate breakfast and I'm ready to go in there and get some new books, and I'm excited. We'll see if I end up picking up anything else other than what I already kind of scouted out. You know, there's always other things. There's definitely, I'll tell you what, the store was a little bit of a mess because they were getting ready for the sale. So they had a lot of stuff out over top of the long boxes. And while the walls were filled, the boxes were kind of covered up. So I was able to go through some of those boxes, but I didn't dig in quite as much as I wanted to. So I'm sure I'm going to find some other things to get. I'm just going to try not to break the bank and make my wife even more upset by buying even more comics. So, well, maybe I'm too late on that. But guys, stay tuned. I am not going to film in the store today. I'm simply going to go in there and buy, and when I come back, we're just going to go over a show and tell and what I bought, and we'll just do a show and tell. So, guys, take care, and I will see you in a few moments. All right, guys, I am back from the comic book shop. I am sorry I didn't do any footage inside, but I was digging through bins at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles like crazy. They had an insane crowd that was there today, and I'm glad I got in line when I did, because I got a story about one of the books first thing off the bat, what happened. And I'm not surprised, because these were really good books that I was looking for. So let's just start with the number one book. The first book I was going to go in and pick up off the stands, and I was going to literally pick it up and kind of debate on it. But after what happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep the book because it's pretty desirable by other collectors. And that is Amazing Spider-Man number 194. And I'll tell you what happened on this. This is in really nice shape. There is a pretty bad spine tick over here, but the rest of it looks pretty good. I think this is going to press out pretty good. I'm going to hope for a pretty good grade on this, because that's the whole idea on this. This and most of these books are going to be books that I'm going to press. I'm going to keep in my PC for a while, and I probably will sell some of them along the way, but some of them will definitely stay in the PC. So I like having that option that I can keep a book for a while and have it in my PC and then sell it if I want to or not. But the whole idea behind everything I do is to add value to these books. And no matter what I pay for this, I want to add value to it. So I'll tell you what happened. So I'm lined up I'm not even lined up at this point. I'm at the shop, and it turns out that it really was noon that the shop was supposed to be open. I think I said earlier that they had advertised that it was supposed to be at 11, and I completely misread the thing. But I'll tell you what, I wasn't the only one who misread that, because there was at least 3 or 4 other cars there. And I came back, ate breakfast, came back, and I'm sitting there, and about 20 minutes to noon, when they were going to open, people started lining up, and it wasn't a huge line or anything, but it's like, well, I've been to this thing before. Most of the people here are looking for not necessarily the big boys that I'm looking for. They are looking for great deals on trade paperbacks, great deals on toys or statues or modern back issues or something like that. And I wasn't too worried about it, but the line started going from the side door where you go in to about the front of the building. And I'm like, okay, it's about 10 minutes till, it's not too cold out there. Let's just go ahead and get in line. So I went ahead and got in line, and line continued to grow behind me, and there were some people that I knew behind me, and I wasn't really eavesdropping, but I was listening to them, and I just remember one of them said, "I hope it's still there when I get in." And I didn't know what book he was talking about or everything, but trust me, I found out real quick it was this book, because as soon as I got through the door, I beelined over to the rack where this was, and my hand is going up like this, and that's when I see a hand right beside mine, like right there. And I'm going, oh, I didn't say it out loud, but that's the book that you were talking about. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad I got there first. And I was apologetic, but I wasn't, at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm taking the book. So, well, no hard feelings and everything. I remember seeing this person at one of the comic little shows here in the area earlier in the year. I remember I had bypassed a book. I remember it was Avengers 144, and I put it back, and I'm like, oh, do I really want that? I should go back and get it. And when I turned around, if I've got the same person in my mind here, he was at that booth, and literally that's one of the 3 books he ended up buying. And I'm like, damn it, I can't believe I should have picked that book up. Nope, it wasn't his fault. And just like this today was not my fault. So this was my big book for today. I got a bunch of other stuff here, but this was the big purchase. I'm looking for big returns on this book when I get it. We'll see what kind of grade I can get. Right now I own a 7.5, and I'm looking to upgrade. We'll see what we can do. All right, continuing on. And I didn't get a lot of books. This is one of those cases I went big. What do they say? Go big or go home? Well, I went big, and then I went home. And so I ended up getting this pile of books. And these are all premium books, and everything was 30% off. And it was still pretty expensive. But every one of these, I think, after a little bit of love and attention from me in my shop, going to do a little clean and press. Some of them need just a little touch of pressing. Some of them need definitely some cleaning, and a definite press. But this one right here looks spectacular, and I'm hoping that it'll be really good because it's a square bound edition. This is Batman: The Killing Joke, and first print. I own this, but it's got a slight defect down here at the bottom, which would prevent me from wanting to get it graded. Obviously, I want to get a 9.8 on this, so I went ahead and picked this one up. This was the last thing I picked up for the day. And I was on the fence about it, and I said, well, I've been wanting to get this in my collection anyway. And this square bound on both ends looks super sharp, and I said, okay, we'll go ahead and get that. This right here is X-Men 139. And the reason I bought this one, I had multiple copies there. This was definitely, there's one other that maybe might have been almost close to this. It looks spectacular. There's no color breaks. The corners are sharp, and it's hard, especially up here when you've got these very black corners up here. I've seen, like, over the years, these things will pick up little dog ears like crazy, or a blunting or something. And this looks super sharp, and I'm telling you, a 9.8 on something like this, it's at least a $500 CGC book at that point. And this is the one I'm rolling the dice on. If I get a 9.6, I will go ahead and move it because I own a 9.6 of this already, but I'm really shooting for the moon on this one right here to try to get that 9.8. But then again, what am I always doing? I'm always trying to get a 9.8. Even if it's the worst book in the world, I want a 9.8, right? I want to use my skills. I want to improve it. All right, now this was definitely on my big list. Actually, most of these were. I'll tell you which ones weren't. I picked up Batman Year One. This is the first issue of that, issue 404. And I picked up 2 of those. You can see them there. And they had a whole stack of these. And watch my video from the other day, and you will see, when I did the recon on this, you will see I laid out a whole, there must have been 6 or 7 of these, I guess. And I went through and I literally picked out the best 2 in here. I would have picked out the best 3, but that third one, just the slightest color break. I mean, it was very slight. And I said, look, okay, I'm spending so much on everything else. I need to get books that are spectacular. Now, these are not perfect. This book right here in particular, both of them need a good press because there are creases, spine creases all up and down these things, but nothing is color breaking. And I predict good things for this. And because the value on a book like this really drops off even at a 9.6, I'm going to have to put this into a pre-screen 9.8 at some point. But I'm pretty hopeful on both of these that'll get a 9.8. I've had success with this book getting a 9.8, so I'm hopeful that we will get another one, at least, or another 2, I should say. All right, continuing with the stash, I ended up picking up yet another copy of New Teen Titans #1, and this was, I'm just doing a quick look here, this was the only, now I take it back, I was going to say it was the only book not on the list, but it's that one and The Killing Joke were both on a sub list. They were a second choice. Now you'll see this in that video the other day, but I really wasn't planning on getting this, but I have good hopes for this. I literally took every one of these that they had sitting there, and I wasn't going to do it, but then I started taking a look at it, and I'm going, I've been wanting to get a 9.8 on this. I've been so close before, and every one of them has a little bit of an issue, and this was one of the whitest copies there, and the spine is spectacular. The only issue I'm having right now, there is some dirt in this white area right in here, and I'm going to clean that up and see what we can do. 9.6 is still pretty good on this, but I'm trying to get that 9.8, so I went ahead and picked up another copy of New Teen Titans #1. I picked up another copy of Marvel Tales, Peter Porker, the first appearance of Peter Porker, and a host of other characters too, right? And this is one that I don't know if I really should, but as a again, I'm looking at 9.8 candidates down across the board as much as I can here. The Spider-Man definitely is not a 9.8 candidate, but everything else in here is. Except, well, maybe not the next one, but it's in really good shape. So, but we'll get to that. But this is a 9.8 candidate. I need this as a 9.8. Even in a 9.6, it's a pretty good return. Key first appearance of this character. Of course, we saw him in the Miles Morales multiverse movie, the animated one. And I think we're going to get him in the second one too. But yeah, just always a good book, and it's not. This one's in really good shape. They had 2 others that were a little bit rougher, and the price reflected that too. So I've got those, and then now when I said there, I had one other that may not necessarily be a 9.8, but it might be. I finally bought this. I've been seeing this across the board. A lot of channels been talking about this. This is Invaders Annual #1, and I'm not much into the Golden Age books, but I appreciate them. I love me some Captain America. But you listen to some of the other channels, and they go on about it's Alex Schomburg, all of his covers, all those great Golden Age covers. Well, this right here was his last cover that he ever did. And how can you go wrong with like that? That's pretty historic, actually. Artist, the last work that's published, and we got we got the Nazis on there. I think the only thing better would have been if you'd had Hitler on there himself. So this copy, they had a couple of these, and it's square bound. And this copy, everything up here is really sharp. I mean, when I say sharp, it's pretty flat to begin with. You don't have the staples protruding. The spine, the square bound, is really nice. And I put this next to the other one, and this blue on here is spectacular. It really pops. So I was finally happy to get this. I had seen it right, my last dealer at the Baltimore Comic Con had this. I don't know if it was in quite as good a shape, and the price was definitely less than what I did with this, even with the discount. But I saw this and I went, this is really sharp. So it's a candidate. I wouldn't say that it's probable that it's a 9.8 candidate. At least these square bounds are a little tricky, but I would say it should be in the conversation. And that's why I went ahead and picked it up. Even at a 9.6, 9.4, there's still value, but yeah, I've got big hopes for that book right there. And then the very last thing that I picked up at the show, it's a book that I'd been wanting to pick up raw and to see if I can get graded. And I'm not much of a fan in the case of the characters. I love the TV shows, I love the movies, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. But I'm not a fan necessarily of the comic books. What I'm a fan of is specking on certain books that I completely will get graded and for resale. And I do that all the time. Most of these other books are books that I have some affinity for. This is a book I have no affinity for, but it is the Darth Vader #3. It is the first appearance of Dr. Aphra. And I guess in the droids, and make fun of me if you want, I don't know the names of them, and particularly I don't care. I know the value in this book has come down a little bit, and I think that's why this was a good price with that 30% discount that I got the book for. I think it's a 9.8 candidate, and I know what a 9.8 can go for. So I'm very hopeful in that. Even a 9.6 will retain some of that value. So I'm pretty hopeful. This is a book that I completely bought to clean and press and get graded and for resale down the road at some point. So that's it. That's all I picked up. Yeah, it was enough. It wasn't a lot of books, but I picked up some pretty key books. Going over, I probably should. I'll do some insert photos here, and I'll show you some of the other books that I was looking at. You can also go back and look at my video from a couple episodes ago about the comic book recon, where I go in the shop and you'll see the montage of the photos of a lot of these books that you see right here. And I will show you some of the ones that I did not get. I was expecting to pick up at least one, maybe two of some of the Golden Age Uncle Scrooge or Donald Duck books that I had on my list. And I'll be quite honest, by the time I got around to those were all gone. Every one of those Dale comics that were with the Disney characters like that, every one that I looked at, other people had scooped them up. And that's good for the shop. I mean, a couple of those that were in boxes, they ended up putting those they put them on the wall, so they got snatched up pretty good. They were in really good shape. Why did I take photos of them? Because they were in great shape. They weren't necessarily keys, all of them, but a book that old in that good a shape just will draw the value no matter what. I'm trying to think what else was in there. I should have had pictures laid out in front of me here. There was a Rocky and Bullwinkle that I went back to try to find. I couldn't find it. I ended up passing on the Cerebus books just because I already bought so much right now. And it's not a hot character. It's a book I feel like I could probably pick up at a later time, and maybe I can find better prices. No need to pick that up now. I went up to the main area at the counter underneath their glass cages. They had stacks of more expensive books, and they had a stack of X-Men. And I went through that, a lot of the John Byrne X-Men run, and I passed on all of them because they all had little defects that I didn't like. They had an issue 127 that looked really spectacular, but one little ding on there, and it looked like it'd be a 9.6 at best. So, and I've already got that for the PC, so I passed on that. They had some Hulk 340s. I did look at those earlier. They had two of those, and both of them had the kind of defects that we're not going to get that 9.8. I don't know if the better of the two was even going to get the 9.6. And I have a little phrase, it's not original, but I kind of go by it an awful lot, is if there is a question, there is no question. And that applied a lot at the end when I was trying to whittle down what I was going to spend, because this little batch that you just saw here was not cheap. And all the other books that I had in my hand that I was considering Daredevil number 9. There was a tick on there that, man, it was color breaking enough that I knew it wasn't going to get that 9.8. There were, I'm trying to think. I even picked up a Godzilla #1 that I almost bought. It looked in really decent shape to the point where I think I could have taken it and worked with it a little bit and got it up. But the fact is, if you don't get a 9.8 on that book right now, it's not going to be worth it. The value has on a 9.6 and even a 9.4 has dropped so much. Just go buy a 9.4 and 9.6 and be done with it. What others? There was an issue of Coyote #11, Todd McFarlane's first published artwork. It was spectacular. The spine was super clean. I had that book in my hand for the longest time, but there was a little bit of, it looked to me like a little bit of color rub up in the corner there and over there. And again, if there's a question, there was no question. Even a 9.6 would have actually been okay on that. But again, I'm spending so much money already. I really wanted to shoot for the moon. I wanted those 9.8s, and I was looking for the super, super, super good copies of these things. So that's what I did. I whittled this down. If you take away from anything in this video other than the Spider-Man, I picked out just absolutely drop-dead gorgeous copies of everything else. Now, Spider-Man's it's not perfect, and it's in really, really good shape. I expect really good returns on that, but it's not a 9.8 Canon. It's not with that tick like it is. It's not even a 9.6. I'm hoping it's, we'll get it into the 9.94 range. We'll see what we can do. So anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this haul. Let me know what you think of these books. I know I love them, and I expect really good things from them when I get them into the shop and eventually get them out to CGC. So that's it for this year. That is the big Cards, Comics, and Collectibles Thanksgiving Day sale. Well, not Thanksgiving Day sale. It's over the whole holiday. So today was Wednesday. It started the sale. The sale will continue on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I've got some time to consider some. If I really want to go back, they had a Jim Steranko artist edition, one of those new, it's a smaller artist edition. It's not the big giant one that they used to have that actually, but they've got smaller ones now that's in a paperback form that I kind of had my eye on. And trade paperbacks, hardbounds, anything like that are 50% off. So that's a $40 book. So for $20, I could go back and pick that up. But I honestly, at this point, I think I'm done. I've spent enough, and that's it. So guys, by the time you have this video, Thanksgiving should be over, but I hope you all had a great holiday. Hope everybody traveled safe, and I will see you for the next video. Take care.